I no longer feel the need to show everybody, I swear I'm smart, look at my work. It just doesn't matter. I don't care if people think that I'm unintelligent because I stay home, because I know who I am. My husband knows who I am, and I just feel so much happier. So who even cares? It's great. So alright, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. Thank you so much for joining. Today I wanted to discuss a topic around the idea of slow living. I wanted to share 10 ways I've been able to find more peace in my life, embracing slow living and just stepping away from stress. Most of us, if not all of us, could benefit from slowing down, and that's what slow living is about. It's about kind of cutting away from the rat race, cutting away from that push to make more money, go to all the coolest events, have the most booming social life. And pursuing slow living really set me free from that modern mindset. It allowed me to be comfortable as a homemaker. It allowed me to find a lot more mental peace at home. It allowed me to do so much. So today I want to share with you guys 10 ways you can find more emotional stability and pursue slow living today. So the first one is going to be very obvious. I'm sure you can find a million videos about this on YouTube, but that is to detox from social media. As a person who just took 2 months off from social media, I can't even tell you how revitalizing that break was. Now, I don't use personal social media even when I am on social media. I only use it for my blog, but even that capacity can become a lot sometimes. Pages on the explore page shoved in your face, seeing all the drama online, friends and family and what they're getting up to. It can sometimes just be a lot of noise. So if you want to embrace slow living, if you want to find a little more mental clarity, I really encourage you to take a break, even if it's temporarily, from social media. You will notice that the way you view yourself changes. You will notice that the things you think about change. During my 2-month break, I didn't even have Instagram to creep on my phone. I didn't log in. I just cut it off completely, and it was so freeing. That first week was kind of hard because I was, worried about what I was missing out on, but after that, I barely thought about it, and other things were able to take the place of social media. I was able to read more books, I was able to get more involved with my home, and I was able to deal with my morning sickness. So honestly, I really encourage you to consider the amount of time you take on social media, and to also reflect on the content you're consuming online and how it affects you. Pull out your journal, write about how you feel after a social media session, and see how that could be improved. The content we follow online has a major impact on the way we view ourselves, on what we value, and you can even notice sometimes you can see a person's aesthetic on their social media be reflected in the people they follow. So who you follow does have a huge impact on the things you value, the way you try to model yourself, and sometimes even what you believe. So I really encourage you to clean up your social media or take a total detox if you can. But either way, just experiment with this. I promise you're not going to miss out on anything by taking a break and focusing on your own mental health. It is totally worth it, and it really does help you kick off a slow living journey. My second piece of advice, getting financially stable, being frugal, having a budget, staying on track, and not going into debt. So I really encourage you, even if it's overwhelming, to take a look at your bank account, take a look at your expenses, create a budget for yourself, and start getting in control of things. I had thought budgeting would make me feel very constrained, like, oh, I can't get a coffee with a friend, I'm on a budget, But once I began implementing that budget, I had a little section on my budget that was fun money, and I felt free and excited and happy to get that coffee with the friend because it was part of the budget, it was part of the plan, and everything was fine and safe and healthy in the financial world in my life, and I was able to let go a lot of that stress. So the more you know about your finances, the more you are going to feel emotionally stable, and when you have a plan to get out of debt, when you have a plan for where your money's going for your expenses, you will be much more mature. You are going to just grow in your responsibility accountability and self-discipline. I really encourage you, if you have a hard time with this, ask the people around you who you trust to help you. Someone to help you create a budget, someone who might know about it. And there are courses online. You can watch YouTube videos. There's ways to educate yourself about finances. But I promise you that the more you physically and mentally avoid the subject of your finances, not looking at your bank account, not making a plan, the more stress you're adding onto your life. You can really cut down a lot of that and allow yourself to be much more free by simply creating a budget. And with all that being said, let's move on to the third way I became much more peaceful in my life, and that is by working on my flaws. We all have flaws, and the thing is, we all know that we have flaws. And I have found that the best way to deal with this isn't to just accept my flaws, like, oh, I guess I'm just a lazy person. No, it was to work on that flaw and become less of a lazy person. And I would encourage anyone, no matter your background, no matter, if you believe what I believe, to work on your flaws by first identifying that you have flaws, have the humility to recognize those, and then 2, start researching ways to overcome them, to fix them. And this isn't to pursue perfectionism, but rather to pursue stability. Because when we have these flaws in our lives, they can sometimes hold us back. So I encourage you to write down a list of some things that are great about yourself, but then also your flaws. Don't be so hard on yourself and don't nitpick about tiny things like my calves are too big, okay? Go for things that are more theoretical that you can work on. I had laziness on my list, and I had problems, with friendships. I wouldn't put a lot of effort into them, or I wouldn't reach out to people, and because of that, I didn't have a lot of friends, and then I'd be sad I didn't have friends. That was a flaw. I had problems communicating my feelings to my husband, and I would resort to being passive aggressive. That was a flaw. And so I identified these things, I learned as much as I could about them, and then I set to work on them. And this helped me gain so much more peace in my life and just improved my life, first of all, by getting rid of the flaw and becoming better, but also through that journey of self-work, working on yourself, being sanctified. That in itself is a blessing. All right, the fourth way that I found more emotional peace in my life was by reevaluating my relationships. The word toxic gets thrown around a lot in life. Often people like to label relationships toxic, people toxic, when in reality they're the toxic person. I know that happens. But I do know too, there are times where we can have people in our life that are a detriment to our growth, to our spiritual growth, to our happiness, to our peace of mind, and they can really be holding us back or even drawing us towards destruction. And so I really encourage you to evaluate the relationships in your life, the quality of those relationships, and the power they have over you. You often become the summation of the friends you have in your life. So pay a close attention. Would you like to be like those friends? If you woke up a year from now with that personality and that lifestyle, would you be pleased with yourself? And I did this. I had to look in my life and see where I needed to make some cuts. And it wasn't easy pruning certain relationships out of my life. But now, years after, I have found so much freedom and peace because I don't have those people in my life leading me down a bad path, making me feel horrible about myself, being very cruel emotionally. So I encourage you to evaluate your friendships and consider them and maybe pursue some different ones. All right, the fifth way I found emotional peace in life, this one's a little short, but it is simply by dressing and decorating the way that I wanted to. This might seem weird, like we can all wake up and dress the way we want, but really I find that a lot of people have a lot of mental blockage when it comes to getting dressed and choosing a style. This can sometimes get in the way of us truly pursuing our creativity in these areas, but I was able to find a lot of emotional peace simply by throwing all the status quos out the window and dressing the way I want. That means wearing dresses most of the time, looking a little dressier than 90% of the people I'm around. It means decorating the way I want. It means wearing things that I feel beautiful in and that I love. And this brings me emotional peace and grows my confidence. The funny thing you'll notice is people might react strangely to what you're wearing, but that's only sometimes because it's out of place. I've noticed that the more I dress the way I want consistently, the less reactions I get from people because they're just used to me dressing that way. That's just how Caitlin dresses. So I encourage you to start pursuing your creativity with your style and the way you decorate your home. This will help you grow in confidence. It will help you get more in touch with your taste and your personality. Just wear that one skirt that one time. Change up those boots that one time. Trim your hair just a little bit, do what you need to do to make those baby steps to that journey. I didn't wake up one day and just suddenly start wearing dresses every day. I slowly increased over a period of 2 years, and it brought me a lot of joy. This ties into my 6th tip for how I got emotional stability, and that is to unplug from the world's expectations of you. This is going to look different based on your culture, but in modern Western American culture for young women, there's a huge expectation that we all grow up to be doctors or being a CEO, a boss babe, achieve, achieve, achieve. As I've made videos about before, in Western American culture, it is pretty uncommon for a young woman in her 20s to get married and become a homemaker. That is not common. It is anti the status quo, and it'll cause you to stand out. But when I finally made the choice to pursue that, I found so much more emotional peace. I thought I would be so stressed being different than everybody else, but in reality, I was so pleased with my life circumstances, my daily work, the things set before me, that it didn't even matter when I encountered someone who was confused about my choices or who thought my choices were weird, because I was personally so pleased with my choices and so happy on a day-to-day basis, it just didn't matter. So I really encourage you to not set up your life in such a way where you're only doing things because it's what's expected of you. If you want to be a homemaker, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, if you want to, do these things that are now looked down upon in our modern society, I encourage you to do it. You have one life to live, and you get to design how that's going to go. And honestly, you're going to be a lot happier following those dreams, those things that you really, really want, over just achieving for the sake of achieving in the workplace. And of course, this advice can be applied to something more than becoming a homemaker. But for me specifically, becoming a homemaker, stepping away from the rat race, stepping away from those expectations to prove my intelligence through achieving at work has really just brought me so much peace. I no longer feel the need to show everybody, I swear I'm smart, look at my work. It just doesn't matter. I don't care if people think that I'm unintelligent because I stay home, because I know who I am. My husband knows who I am, and I just feel so much happier. So who even cares? It's great. All right, my 7th piece of advice. I've gone over this millions of times on my channel, and I will never stop. And that is to do daily, regular maintenance of your body. Now, this is more than just dressing cute or curling your hair. It's about hygiene. It's about maintaining your beauty. And this is through diet and fitness and sleep, avoiding stress, taking care of your skin, regular showers, moisturizing your body. Now, when I was in that dark place in my life, going through a lot of grief, experiencing a lot of stress, taking care of my body was on probably the bottom of my list. And if that is you in your life right now, I want to send you my sympathy. I totally understand what that's like, because all you can do is focus on surviving, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you are ready to re-enter normal life, when your stress can kind of go down a little bit, I really encourage you to pursue regular maintenance of your body, your hygiene, your figure. Having a routine, having a plan, having a focus with your beauty, with your health, with your fitness, your diet, your skin, will bring you emotional peace. Because instead of waking up and feeling kind of crappy about the way you look, kind of wondering why you don't like the way you look, having that just bother you in the back of your head, you can wake up, feel great, look great, and then forget about the way you look and just go live your life for the rest of the day. It's great. I began doing this 3 or 4 years ago, and it made a huge impact. I feel like a completely different person. Watch my glow up video. If you haven't, you can see the transition from when I wasn't taking regular care of my beauty to where I am now. All right, my 8th tip. This is a little bit vague, but it is to tone down the intensity in your life. Just turn down the volume. So if you have a million things going on, learn to say no to future obligations. If you have so much going on that you can't take care of your body, or you can't sit down for a nice meal with your spouse, you might need to just tone everything down. You have permission to tone down the intensity in your life, to take some rest, to breathe, and just take things slower. It's really not that complicated, but it's very hard to do. It's hard to say no to meetings. It's hard to say no to opportunities. But even as I've grown this blog, this channel, I've kept the intensity as low as possible. I don't pursue every avenue for a sponsorship. I don't expect myself to respond to every comment, every email. I don't put that pressure on myself because I decided to tone down the intensity in my life. It extends to your relationships and your work. And it really just means simplifying things in your life so that you can be more functional and effective in an easier kind of way. So take a look at your life and see, what is excess? What's excess work or, events, things that you don't really need to be doing, or maybe the place you live is too intense and you just need to find some peace out in the country or whatever. We did that. We moved to the country and the intensity went way down. So I encourage you to just identify the intense parts of your life and maybe tone it down a little bit. My 9th point is very short, but that is to connect with nature. I cannot stress this enough. This will help you find emotional peace. Being out in nature, exercising or not, maybe just watching a sunset, you will feel much more peaceful. For me, it's a way to connect with the Lord, showing gratitude and admiration for His creation. And it's also just a way to find peace. You get that vitamin D. You're surrounded by calm sounds. You can see the animals. It's just a really wonderful way to kind of step away from the intensity. When you're out in nature, you can really remove yourself from stress. It's not like your boss is going to pop out from behind a pine tree asking about tomorrow's meeting. You won't see photos of Instagram models pasted to the rocks you're walking by, okay? Those stressors won't be there. So go out into nature, connect, unplug from your phone, and just find that emotional peace. All right, my 10th and final tip. I'm starting to feel kind of out of breath, like I need to sit down. This is the pregnancy life, but that is to soak in the gratitude. Every day, wake up and think about things that you can be grateful for. If you are feeling sad, if you are feeling angry, if you are feeling anxious, gratitude can do a lot for you. I've learned this through personal experience. Just taking time to reflect on the things I'm grateful for, physically writing down what I have to be grateful for. And practicing gratitude in general just keeps me humble. It reminds me that I don't have anything in this life because of anything I've done, but because of who the Lord is. I really encourage you to practice gratitude. It'll probably make more difference than any other tip on this entire list. But I do have to wrap it up. I am feeling kind of, pregnant and I need to take a rest. But if you liked this content, please click the like button. It does help grow our community. If you haven't yet, join the feminine family by subscribing. You can be my sister. If you are interested in more of this kind of content, I do have a few other videos regarding the topic of wholesome living in general. Check out my written blog if you have a moment. Follow me on Instagram. But in total, I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and emotionally peaceful week, my beautiful sisters.